I can't see me anymore. Oh, well. Well, welcome everyone to the How to Crush Limiting Beliefs and Unleash Your Unstoppable Potential. I know there's still some people coming, and a lot of people message me to say that they couldn't make it because we trialed a different time. And yeah, we're going to go back to Fridays at midday from here on. So it seems like a better time that helps everyone, especially those in the States and in Oz. But if you're watching the replay, welcome as well. And I hope you get just as much out of it. Obviously, being on these things live is helpful and beneficial because you can ask questions, however, not essential. So, yeah, welcome those who have made it along tonight, and definitely hope to help you with this and really push you that little bit harder to the next stage. For those that haven't seen me before and this is your first time, I know there's a few first timers that registered. My name is Tahi Spinks from Tahi Spinks Coaching, and been working in this mindset coaching space for about 3 years now. Been on my own personal journey a little bit longer. Moved into this space after my own personal journey of being stuck in what would you call it? The mainstream work life, and working too hard, working too long, working too much, and the most important people in my life getting the worst parts of me, the people that obviously important to me as well, which were my clients at the time in my electrical business. They got the best of me, but they weren't the most important people to me. And that's why I moved into this to help me spend more time with my family, to be more present with my family, and realizing that limiting beliefs and born out of, I guess, for want of a better word, childhood trauma, was what kept me in the grind, kept me thinking that there was only one way to do life, and that was the way I'd seen my parents do it. Work long hours, work hard, be proud of how hard you work, rather than what you achieved. And I decided to change that for myself and for my family, and I'm very proud that I have done that. And that's where I believe the unstoppable potential comes in. You know, whether it's in your family life, being unstoppable at home is being present, being there with your family, and being unstoppable in your work life is making sure that you crush your day, you achieve everything you need to in your day so that you are available for those that matter the most. And also making sure that you take time for yourself. So many of us put work in first. A lot of people put family second, and then it might be friends, neighbors, anyone else who needs us that get us next. And usually we're a long way down that list. So overcoming beliefs and becoming unstoppable means putting yourself first. That's what it means to me. Because if you're not good, if you're not the best version of yourself, or the best version you can be today, then those around you aren't going to get the best version of you. So becoming the best version of yourself for you, and when you're with yourself, is absolutely vital to being the best version of yourself around others. So let's dive on into this. And I don't talk about it on most webinars because it's something that I'm very passionate about, and overcoming limiting beliefs. So some of this will be familiar to you and a bit of a refresher. But for those that are still struggling to understand limiting beliefs, or maybe you've been on a lot of these webinars with me and you're still trying to get clear on what your personal limiting beliefs are, or maybe you think that you found them because you uncovered one or two or three. But the true power comes in keeping finding them, because there's more and more to uncover. like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I still uncover new beliefs. I've uncovered new ones this week that I didn't know were there. Things that made me uncomfortable, things that I had to push through and learn from, and seeing them as a gift. And just allow me a quick moment. I'm going to take my top off because it's getting super hot in here. Sorry about that. I'm back live. So yeah, just continually digging into those beliefs until we get to the core of where they came from, because our belief system was born at such a young age that each time that we've run that pattern, we've made that belief stronger, because every time that belief is right, that you can't do it, or you won't do it, or you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, and therefore you fail, or you perceive to have failed, you in your mind you failed, that belief gets stronger, and therefore your belief system believes it more. I'm just going to quickly reshare this because my camera is not showing up for some reason. Speaker. Ah, maybe it's just me that can't see me, and I don't need to look at me anyway. So what happens in our childhood that creates a limiting belief is a limiting decision. So at a specific moment in your life when you were younger and something happened, you didn't just experience that moment, you made a decision about what that moment meant. And every time we had these moments as a child, and generally a lot of this happened before the age of 7, and because we have no filter, it goes in as truth, the things we hear and see. So those are awareness. But then as we get to 7 to 14, we start to make decisions about what they mean about us. Because when we were younger, we weren't afraid of as much as what we are now. Maybe we came back afraid of the dark because something happened in the darkness, but we weren't afraid of the dark. We were afraid of what was in the dark. However, I remember getting on my push bike and riding it like there's no tomorrow. My motorbike, when I got a motorbike, I wasn't afraid of anything. I'd fall off and then I'd get back on and I'd ride again. And I'd wake up early the next day excited to go riding again. Even if my leg was hurting from the day before, I'd strap it up and I'd pretend I was okay so that my parents wouldn't stop me going out again. And then I'd ride again and I'd fall off again. And a funny story, when I was younger, we used to buy brake and clutch pedals, handles for my motorbikes in packs of 3. I used to fall off and break them that much. So I'd always have 1 or 2, maybe 3 spare clutch and brake handles, because I knew I'd fall off, and that was just part of the experience. And yet, as I got older and later in life, these fears of falling off, these fears of failing, these fears of not being good enough started to develop. And maybe it was because when I was younger and riding my motorbike, I was often by myself, so those fears weren't there. So when things happen in your life, you make a decision about what they mean about you. And a lot of the experiences I do remember and the beliefs I do uncover are often linked back to places where there was other people involved and they laughed or they poked fun, or there was other kids or adults laughing, or just things they said, and it hurt you and it made you think, oh, wow, I wasn't good enough there, or that was really silly that I did that. So you try and shut down that part of yourself to keep yourself safe. And so some of the limiting beliefs, or all limiting beliefs, you'll be able to find in your negative self-talk. And if you don't have any negative self-talk, that's awesome. I love it. Maybe it's hidden a little bit deeper, because I still find things that maybe I'm not aware of the self-talk going on, but when I listen to my feelings, if I'm feeling a little bit off, there's definitely some subconscious negative self-talk going on there. And if I'm not achieving in some part of my life, I will look to the feelings that are created within myself to give me the answers to what the lesson is. Because if we're not achieving in any area of our life, there's a reason for it. And we can say, oh, the economy's bad at the moment. We could say I've got a bad boss. We can make all the excuses in the world. But even with the economy, are there still people making money out there? Hell yeah. There's still people making millions and billions of dollars because they know how to use that. So rather than being afraid of what's going on in the economy, they look at it to, how do I make this work for me? And I was talking about this on a call the other day about one of the fund providers, or one of the investment agent companies, that during COVID, I have my KiwiSaver, my superannuation with. And during COVID, they actually foresaw what was coming, and they sold all they foresaw what was coming. And so they sold all their shares before the big drop. And they had this big pool of money that when the markets dropped, they reinvested into shares. And so they kept making money through those bad times. They didn't just get afraid and run away, because that's what they do. That's what they know. And I'm sure if it was a mum and dad investor investing in the share market their first time, they wouldn't have been brave enough to do that. And maybe they didn't foresee it quick enough, and they were sitting on the fence waiting for advice. So maybe they've never invested again. And that's where, if we go into business the first time and it fails, we can easily not try that again because it's scary. But look at the most successful people in the world. They've all been bankrupt at least once, maybe twice. And then when they come back from that, they make more money because they're not afraid to keep going, keep trying. Or if they are afraid, they look into why they're afraid and they work out ways to overcome that. And I know I was reading something the other day about how a lot of the top performers like Bruno Mars and Celine Dion, there were some other really, really famous ones in there, how they use NLP to work on their self-limiting beliefs and their negative self-talk to overcome that, so that they could become the superstars that they were. And that's why they looked unstoppable to everyone else. But they still had their hurdles along the way, but they looked for ways to overcome that. So if we're not looking for ways to overcome it, then we're going to let it stop us. So that self-talk is all those things. If you're not aware of your self-talk yet, the shouldn't be's, it's not right. That's, putting the blame out there. It's not an inside out, it's an outside in belief. I can't do this, or I'm not capable. Again, that's a belief of what we perceive others will think of us. It has nothing to do with whether we're capable. We weren't able to do our times tables when we started school, unless we were, some of you might have been, I couldn't. So we learned how to do it. Now we're capable of it. And we learned through repetition, and that's why we know most of us up to our 12 times tables. But beyond that, we don't really know, because it wasn't something we repetitively learned. And then there's your feelings of unworthiness. I'm not good enough. And what makes me think this is going to work for me, or what makes me so special? If you're the first one in your family trying to do something different. And for me, that's been a big thing about one of my big fears about putting social media on my personal profile, because this is something different to what my family have done. and that fear of their judgment. And then I know they talk about me amongst themselves, and that's fine. That's because what I'm doing doesn't fit their belief system. It doesn't mean I can't change mine. Andrew never learnt his times tables. Good on you, matey. Yeah, good calculator. Oh, exactly. Maybe you're just a little bit younger than me, brother. And then there's the feelings of lack, not being intelligent enough, beautiful enough, not that sort of person. You know, this is a big belief of mine going into my first business, my electrical business. I had my whole life, I hadn't seen another young Māori that owned an electrical business. So I believed that I wasn't that type of person. I wasn't a businessman. I actually had the belief I am not a businessman. And of course, even though all the results were saying differently, and we were growing, you know, I had seven staff within the first year, had 7 figures within the first 3 years. The results were saying I was a businessman, but I didn't believe I was. So I'd find ways to, not consciously, but now that I'm aware of it, I saw how I sabotaged some of the gains that we could have made, and the position that business could be in could be so much better now. And that's okay. That's what happened. But I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't have learned all this and be able to share this with more people if I hadn't gone through that. So what a blessing that was. So the fastest way to find your limiting beliefs is to find your triggers and then look inside. I've shared with a lot of people that, you know, I've had some personal stuff that I've been going through in the last month with one of my children, and it's triggered me. It's been triggering. I don't feel like a good enough parent because of some of the things that have happened. But what a gift he's given me to find that talk, because it's nothing to do with my parenting. He has a neurological defect, and that's okay. But if he hadn't have triggered me in that way, I wouldn't have found those beliefs that I wasn't good enough as a parent. And underneath that, it just comes back to I'm not good enough, I'm not enough. So I'm so blessed to have gone through that, even though it's been a very hard time in my life and very hard to deal with. I've come out stronger and better, and also can relate to more people that are going through that with their children. So yeah, look at what's pushing your buttons, and then understand why it pushes your buttons, because no one outside of you can make a feeling within you. So if you're feeling something in your body, you're attaching to what you're taking what you're experiencing or what someone else is saying, and you're attaching a belief to it, and that creates a feeling, and that feeling is created, and I know it might not feel like it at the time, that feeling is actually created to make you safe or to keep you safe. Now just sit with that for a moment. That negative feeling is created to keep you safe. Yet it makes you feel so unsafe at the time. So the only way to feel safe is to change the belief that has created that. So when we start looking into why we get triggered and why we feel certain ways about what people say or what we perceive they're going to say that they haven't even said yet, like, you know, going live on Facebook, it's a triggering thing for most people the first time they do it, because they're worried about what people will think, how they will judge you. And the fear of how you might be judged is something that hasn't even happened yet either. So we're creating these feelings out of something that we feel a lack of control over. Quite often it comes back to control, because the ego loves to control, but it's controlling to keep you safe from the decisions you made. So if you believe that if you try something and fail, you're going to look silly or be laughed at, or even worse, disowned by your family, the ego is saying, don't do that because we need our family. Don't do that because we want to have friends. So when you understand that it's doing everything that's working against us right now is actually keeping us safe by the beliefs we've created, the worldview we've created, then we can understand that. it has there that all triggers are connected to ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences. So that's what I'm talking about, the things that happen in our childhood. And so that's how we created our worldview. So we made decisions about ourselves, that I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, smart enough. They're all decisions we made about ourselves. The other things that make up a worldview is the decisions we made about others. So they're things like others are scary, others are untrustworthy, people don't love me, people always laugh at me, people don't like me. All of these things that we decided about other people, that's the second component of the worldview. The third component was actually about the world itself. So the world is a scary place. And you find a lot of people that start wanting to not live in this world anymore, start thinking about going to the other side, ending things for themselves. I'll just say it, thinking about suicide. The world has become such a scary place for them that they don't want to be here anymore. It's hard. The world is hard. Life is hard. So we make those three decisions about yourself, about others, and about the world, and that makes up our worldview. And from those decisions, we start to develop attitudes. We play roles, the people pleaser, the class clown. I was both of those. Attitudes like I don't care, or I care too much. They could be, with attitudes, I often look to our teenage years about how we treated others and our experiences and ourselves. And then behaviors are like ways we behave to get around things. So limiting behaviors can be procrastination, overthinking, avoidance, all of those kind of things that we do to essentially keep ourselves safe from this view of the world that we created that isn't true. And it was true at the time for us. That's one thing I don't want to look over. I think I just explained that, but any questions on any of that? Let's come off here. And feel free to come on camera or come off mute and ask any questions about any of those little topics.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a triggered person. If you could explain a little bit more, maybe about how we can figure out those. You said just right at the end there about our teenage behavior, about how we behaved when we were younger. Can be a hint or a guide for what our limiting beliefs might be.
Yeah. So, can you give me an example of what that would be for you?
Well, like I was bullied and then I became a bully at times. I would have a friend who I knew was kind of weaker than me in some areas of his life, and then at times I would use it against him, I guess, bully him with it.
Yeah. And so in that, you were bullied first, is that correct?
Yeah, not by him, but yeah, I'd been bullied for my weight and just, I don't know, because for being me.
Yeah. And how did you react to that bullying? Did you go into your shell? Did you hide? Did you run away?
Yeah, I ran away and told my parents about it. I think at one point we had a meeting in the school, but yeah, pretty much tried to avoid it. I would, find all the corners of the school I could find to avoid people, basically every break time and stuff like that, and just make myself invisible, even though I was like 6 foot when I was 11 years old. It was pretty hard, but yeah, I would try to make myself as invisible as possible.
Yeah. So what I'm feeling there for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that because others were scary and others treated you that way, and it got that reaction where you pulled away and you went and hid, when someone else becomes scary, and you might not feel like that person was scary, but in some way that person was probably a threat to you, whether it was in a friendship, or someone might have liked them better than you, or your parents might have liked him or said something kind to him, and that person becomes a threat. So that's actually a learned behavior that, well, that other person did that to me and I went and hid. So if I do this to this person, he's going to go and hide, and then I'm safe again. Because if other people are doing that to you and it's making you feel that unsafe, then you probably had a belief that others were bad people, or they were unsafe or unkind. And so that was a learned behavior. If you treated that person that way, then you'd be free again and they wouldn't be a threat anymore. And I'd feel safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah, and it probably explains a lot of my triggeredness when it comes to threatening or challenging situations as well. Whether it could be a client, it could be a family member, it could be a stranger, it could, yeah, it gets my back up, you know. Yeah, it's good food for thought. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for that question. That's an outstanding question, and yeah, thank you for being brave enough to ask that, so others could learn from it. Does anyone else have any other questions around that, or did that resonate for anyone else? Just feel free to drop it in the chat or come off mute, and feel free to have your cameras on so we can see your beautiful faces. Going once, going twice. No, that obviously made sense or didn't make sense at all. Either way, we're going to carry on. No, really good question, Andrew, and thank you for sharing that. So the next thing I wanted to touch on is, if we're not doing anything to change this, we're actually making a choice to stay the same. And this can be quite a hard pill to swallow, you know, because every part of you is saying, I don't want to live this way anymore. So how could it possibly be that I'm choosing to stay the same? Well, in any part of our life, we're choosing. Like if we're in a work situation that we don't like and we stay there, we're choosing to stay there. And we'll probably come up with a million reasons why we need to stay there. Job security, money, bills to pay, all of those things. But all that aside, we're choosing to stay there. I stayed in as an electrician, I worked in the gold mines and underground gold mines, and it paid really well. Like a number of other people that, you know, good friends of mine that are still there because of the fear of leaving, that that comfort, that security blanket. So most people chose to stay there. I was lucky enough to choose to get out. It just meant I had to change my own behaviors and my own spending habits, and do things differently and create something new. And I created my own business out of that. And there's other places, like if you're in a toxic relationship and it's not changing, you're either choosing not to work on it together, or you're choosing to stay in it when maybe you shouldn't be. So we're always choosing to stay the same if we're not choosing to change, because everything works as polarity. You know, there's no up without down. There's no dark without night. Everything has a polar opposite, because if it was always nighttime, it'd just be what is. So staying and changing, or the same and change, are polar opposites. So you've got to be brave enough to choose to change and really choose it. Now, you could choose it for a short period of time, but what I've found is over time, it starts to wear off. And that's why I still do work on myself 4 years into this journey. I'll probably still be doing it right up until the day I die. Still learning, still growing, because I chose to change, and I chose to keep doing the things I need to do to change. And I've had to invest in myself when it looked like I couldn't, or it was a bad decision to. But I've kept doing it because I want to be the best version of myself and for my family. So who here, by a show of hands or in the chat, is ready to change? Andrew, I can see Andrew's hand because he's the only one with his camera on. There's Julia's hand. I was waiting for it. Yes. So being ready, saying we're ready to change and being ready to change are two completely different things. It's like saying I'm going to start going to the gym, but not going to the gym. I'm going to stop drinking alcohol and continuing to drink alcohol. So choosing to change is something that you need to choose and go all in on. We all know that a gym membership doesn't get you abs. Trust me, I've had a gym membership many times and I've never had abs. So I understand that that won't happen. So actually choosing to change and going all in on that change is the next step, and being unwavering on getting the result you want, no matter how hard it gets. So what I wanted to do here, can you still see my screen? So what is your dream? So I hope you've got a pen and paper handy. And down the left-hand side of the page, I want you to put some real measurables on what your dream is. So how you want to be physically, whether it's just healthy, which obviously is a hard one to measure, but maybe physically you want to run a marathon. Maybe you want to be able to do 100 press-ups, 100 sit-ups. So write down where you'd like to be in your life, ideally, and put aside all the reasons why that pop into your head why you can't do that. And whatever the first things are that come to your head, write them down, because that's usually the truth. And do that down the left-hand side of your page. Emotionally, it might be emotionally stable. It might be resilient. It could be not procrastinating. Being unstoppable. It could be as broad, as big as having no limiting beliefs. I'd love to have that. Man, that's why I keep working on it. I don't believe that the Dalai Lama has them, and a number of other people that have dedicated their life to them. I don't know if you can live in the modern society and not have them and be completely free of them. But you're also in a bloody good place to get triggered enough to change them if you really want to go deep into them. Spiritually, what is your dream spiritually? And whatever spiritually means to you, whether that's religion, whether that's just freedom, whether that's, flow, ease, all of those things. And then where do you want to be financially? What is your dream financially? And that's something, it could be an annual figure that we put on that, could be a monthly figure, whatever that is, that that you can pay all your bills and then have this surplus that you can split up for, holidays, for saving for a house, saving for your car, another car, and creating wealth for your retirement and for your family. And also spiritually, when I jump back to that, could be your big why. I know we've talked about it a lot. What is it, that big why? And we're going to jump into that later. But, spiritually for me is helping as many people as possible. I have it this year as 200. I want to help 200 people this year grow from grow towards their dreams. So it could be something like that, because that lights me up inside. That gives me that sense of peace in myself when I'm, even these, these workshops, webinars, masterclasses that we run. This really fuels my soul because I'm helping people. So yeah, and if you have any questions around any of those, just let me know. I'll give you a moment to. And Andrew's going to be my guide for when you're all finished, because he's the only one I can see. Did you need that list back up there, Andrew? No. Are you done with that? Sweet. All right, well, we're moving on. We're going at Andrew's pace tonight. So this is the why. At the top of the page, if you've got room, or at the bottom of the page, I want you to write down why this dream is important to you. Is it your family? Is it community? For me, it's about setting up places for people to come to and really work on their mindset and overcome their limiting beliefs and live their dreams. I want to have my own retreat space here. I want to have mindset gyms around the country and have a big online platform where people can come in and get what they need, and have more people working with me that are also in this amazing space as well to live from. So yeah, write down at the bottom why this dream is important to you. And there's no wrong answers with that. I have no idea why I can't have this on screen share and see your camera, Andrew. Oh, here we go. There's a little option here. No, that's not. No, that's not it. No. So now, once you got clear on that, down the right hand side, I want you to write where you're at currently. So physically, you put down that you want to run a marathon. We know that's 42 kilometers. How many kilometers can you run now? If you want to do 100 press-ups easily without running out of breath, how many can you do right now? Emotionally, if you wanted to be free of your limiting beliefs, how trapped are you right now? And what I'd say there to make it measurable is, what percentage of the day do you feel that your subconscious is playing those limiting beliefs right now, and they're impacting you? Because if they're at play 90 to 95% of the day, and your subconscious is at play 90 to 90% of the day, but if you're feeling triggered or anxious or nervous or angry, how much of the day are you feeling emotions like that? Or are you procrastinating? Are you in fear? So what percentage of the day now, to get to the percentage of the day that you'd love to be at, just so that we can see what the difference is. And then spiritually, where are you on that dream? If you put down that you wanted to be at peace, at ease, spiritually, or you wanted to be helping 200, 300, thousands of people, where are you at currently? And then financially is obviously an easy one. If you put down that you want to earn $1 million a year, how much are you earning now a year? And put down whatever that is. Did you just put your hand up, Julia, or is it still up from before? Myself. Still up from before. Julia says she was busy typing away and forgot to put her hand down. Said her arm was getting tired. And if anyone's finished that, putting down where they're at now, I want you to then go to the middle of your page if you've got room in the middle, or write down on another page what the difference is between those two. And it's probably going to be quite confronting. Just bring yourself off mute, Fiona, if you want to ask a question. Or did you raise your hand by accident? Maybe she raised her hand by accident. Yes.
Where would you write down job goals, job dreams? Like,
sorry, can you ask that again?
Where, can you hear me? Where would you put job aspirations or dreams? Like
so
you said about
I'd align that to financial. So career comes, I align it to financial because the financial part of the career is measurable. There's also the spiritual aspect to career, from helping people. So yeah, you can put it in between the two there. And if anyone's finished putting the difference down in the middle, I'd love to hear in the chat box what comes up for you when you see that. Or you can come off mute and discuss it. Feel free to do that as well.
I see a freaking big challenge.
So it's quite a gap.
Yeah, about 8 inches.
I remember doing this and being quite shocked myself too. And I guess we can do this at many aspects of our life or many stages of our life as our, dreams get bigger or smaller or change. So the question becomes here, is the pain of staying the same greater than the fear of what you have to face in order to change? And I'll say that again. Is the pain of staying the same greater than the fear of what you must face in order to change? And I'd love to hear the answer in the chat box. Because if it's not, we may as well wrap it up here. if that doesn't inspire you to change, or what we're trying to do here is create the fear of staying the same and not wanting to be that anymore, but also get excited about where we want to go, because some people work better moving away from something they're afraid of, and some people work better working towards a goal and being focused on that goal. So what we're creating here is the fear of staying where we were and the excitement of where we want to go. So we'll do whatever we can. Yeah, I love that. Fiona's all in. So that we'll find a way to get there, like no matter what. If you're in pain here and on one island and there's another island over there and you need a bridge to get over, you'll find a way to build that bridge, or you'll find a way to build a boat, or you'll swim. If there's sharks in the water, you probably won't do that. But are there sharks in the water, or is that another fear that you've created to stop you getting there? Are there no boats available, or could you not build a raft, or is that another excuse that you've made? I don't know how to build a raft to get across there. If we're all in on that change, we'll find a way. We'll find a way to get there. And that's why we got to build on that excitement of being there, as well as getting away from where we're at right now. I was just reading the chat box. Definitely confronting, because it's challenging, but it's also exciting too. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Confronting, but exciting. Yeah, and that quote of that pain, a lot of one of my other clients I was talking to the other day said she has a screenshot of that and she looks at it every morning. So I'm going to reshare that in case you want to take that screenshot yourselves. So you feel, I'm going to can you come off mute and ask that question, Andrew, if you feel comfortable to ask that?
Yeah. I think, well, it's not really a question, it's more of an observation. That I either need to feel more pain because I'm too complacent about my weight, I suppose really what it is, but I measure my weight or my health by my waist size. When I have to wear my big pants. I know I'm overweight and lazy. But when I can wear my skinny jeans, then I know I'm, doing the right thing. I feel better, everything's in place.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing anything. I'm too complacent with my physique.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not pain. Maybe I'm a towards guy than an away guy, right? Maybe I need more pleasure. Maybe I need to anchor in on.
And how unhappy with your weight are you?
I mean, I'm not thrilled. I don't look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, want that guy. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not modeling for anybody.
So you'd like to be
enough.
able to change that?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to go to the beach in the summer with my shirt off and know that people are thinking, oh, that guy's put in some work. That's that woman's lucky to have that hot guy.
And how would that make you feel?
Got 3 kids, but he doesn't have a dad bod.
And how would that make you feel?
That make me feel great.
So feeling into that feeling of how it already feels to be there, and visualizing walking down the street, along the beach, visualizing that. It's amazing what even that can change. I remember doing some work around this a while ago when I wanted to lose weight. And I was, visualizing, having a property in the country and being able to walk up and down the hills really easily and playing with the kids and all that. And I had a morning where I wasn't feeling that great, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to stop and get a coffee and a pie. And I always ordered my coffee online. And I was like, oh, I'm going to give in. I'm going to have a pie this morning. And I pulled up at the gas station to get my coffee, and I was going to go in and get a pie. And I had a phone call, and I couldn't get out of my car because I was talking on the phone to the guy who had called me. The guy behind the counter, and this never happens, I've never seen him do it for anyone else, or has never done it for me, came out, saw me sitting outside on the phone, came out and delivered my coffee. And then I was still on the phone, so I just drove off, and I didn't have that opportunity to buy that. So it's amazing when we actually commit to something, even when we're feeling like, we don't want to do it, these things can happen as well. So it's feeling into what that feels like. And then if you want more pain, start thinking about the years that it might take off your life, and the less years that you'll have with your children, and the things you're going to miss out. If you can't, if you're too embarrassed to go to the beach and walk along the beach with them, what joy you're going to miss out on with them. You can really build on that pain if that's something you want to build. If you think you need that to get where you want to go, rather than avoiding those things because you know those things logically. It's just, and then what is the fear of what you have to face to change that's keeping, I guess that's where the fear of what you have to go through to change is more powerful than the fear of staying the same, because you're saying, I need more pain, because what you have to do to change is more fearful. That's exactly what that quote's about. And I know I'm going through a little bit extra time here, so I don't know, we're all good. So next, I want you to write a statement. And the statements, so take out a new piece of paper or a new, whatever you're typing on, Julia. You're the younger one in the room. They probably don't even know what a pen and paper is. So get out your device. And so write your dream out, and start with, I am so happy and grateful that, or I am so grateful and happy too. So if you would rather be at a 36-inch waist, I'm just taking a guess here, 32. Yep, 32-inch waist. So I am so happy and grateful that I put in the work, and now I have a 32-inch waist. I feel so good walking along that beach, knowing that I achieved this financial goal, and it's allowed me time to spend with my family. I feel so free inside, if it was a spiritual or emotional freedom that you're looking for. I am so present with my family, and because presence with your family tells you that you're not running limiting beliefs right now. Because if you're running limiting beliefs while you're with your family, you're not present. So, that emotional part, if I put in, I am so present with my family in this moment, then that tells me you're probably where you need to be emotionally. And it feels so good to have, over the last year, helped 200 people. I thought I had it written down here. And that's what mine is. I'm so happy and grateful knowing that I've helped over 200 busy professionals overcome stress and anxiety and limiting beliefs to now live to be more present with their families. So it's writing this out in a story statement form, And anytime you feel like you're not going to push through, or that fear gets greater than what you have to do to change, I want you to come back and read this again. And I'd say put in some more work into it, really grow it into something that you feel passionate about, so that it builds that desire. So when you're reading it, you can hear, like, and I'm using Andrew's because he shared it. You can hear the beach, the waves on the beach. You can hear the kids playing. You can hear the wind on your face and the heat of the sun on your back because you're not wearing a shirt. You're not noticing anyone else but your family and your kids playing, and how it feels inside to have helped so many people. You can feel yourself walking on your toes down the beach. And also because you're so light and energized that you're just springing along, you're running with your kids, you're tackling them into the sand and rolling around, you're diving in the water with them. You can feel all that and get it to a real feeling place where it's so magical. And so I'd say write it out, type it out, put some pictures with it if that's amazing, like your why. If your why is your family, put a photo of your family, laminate it on there or print it on there. If your why is, helping other people, get a picture of, those people all happy together. Put it on there. And every morning when you wake up, the first thing you do is read that and feel what it feels like. And if you still feel a little bit off and you're not ready to get out of bed, read it again. I actually go another step, which you could do yourself too, and I record mine so I can listen to it. And I listen to it before I go to sleep. And if I'm in that theta mode where I'm almost asleep, it's like reprogramming your subconscious, because it's your own voice telling you that. It's like the voice in your head telling you all the other crap it's telling you. All of a sudden you got this voice telling you positive stuff, your voice, that starts to overpower it. And I listen to it in the morning when I wake up, if it's not upsetting the family time. I'll wake up some nights at 4 in the morning and be wide awake, so I'll get that out and I'll listen to that, because it's something I can do and make use of that time. And as I drift off to sleep, it really is reprogramming, because you're in that theta mode where things, the filters have shut down. So yeah, I'd say put a lot of work into that. If you have any questions, message me. I'm always here to help and help grow these things. And yeah, any questions? Any more questions? I don't know if you look baffled, confused, bamboozled, Andrew. Is there something you'd like to share, or was your first comment said I'm goof? I was like, oh, he needs to talk more, but maybe that was your subconscious typing the first one, and the conscious mind said you're good. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for being here. If anyone really wants to take this to the next level, if that that gap looks too far, and that bridge a bridge too far to cross on your own, and you need support with that, reach out to me and we can talk about what that can look like going forward, because I am going to throw out there tomorrow, and you get a heads up because you're the first ones here, that I'm going to be doing a half price deal tomorrow for people to work with me. So it's going to be a limited offer, so you get an extra 24 hours to get on that if that's something you'd like to do, to move forward and really stop costing yourself all of those things, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because I know all of those aspects are important to all of us. And yeah, especially when it comes to your why, that's what keeps me going, my why. And I I'll say it, said it before, I'll say it again. I don't want to bury another friend that's died of suicide, or anyone that's not a friend that's out there needing help. That's what keeps me getting up. That's what keeps me reaching out to people I don't know. And that's what makes me okay to get no's. If someone's okay, I'm fine with that, because that's awesome. They don't need my help right now. And if they do, they know where I am. They know how to find me. So yeah, keep your why in mind. Choose today, and you've made a commitment in the chat here that you're ready to change, even though it's scary. So go out there and get it. Work on those stories. I'd love if you want to DM me, send me a message with your mission statement. Send that through. I love to see what people put in those and how powerful they can be. And if you get a little bit stuck, let me know and I'll find mine and send it to you as well. So anyone watching this on the replay, thanks for taking the time to watch this. I know that the time didn't work for everyone tonight, and next webinar we're going to run the smashing procrastination webinar again, because that's still a hot topic for people, and I know a lot of people couldn't make that last time, so it'll be back on Friday midday the 17th. So look out for the link to register for that. We're coming your way soon. Awesome. Well, take care everyone, and have a amazing rest of your day, rest of your night, your afternoon. I think it's the afternoon where you are, Andrew, over there in, is it Korea? Seoul, Korea? Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy. Love to you all.